In 1969, a British crime caper used 3 Mini Coopers and a gold heist to make movie history. Decades later, Paramount wanted to revive it. With a fresh script, a rising director, and an all-star cast, the movie set out to thrill a new generation. But behind the scenes, things weren't so simple. There were rewrites, casting battles, and production challenges no one saw coming. So how do you bring back a beloved classic without wrecking it? Or worse, boring your audience to death? Let's find out. This is the story of The Italian Job.
What the hell are you doing?
I made a few plans of my own.
There's nowhere you can go where we won't find you.
That's probably right, John.
By the late 90s, Paramount was hunting for a fresh take on The Italian Job. The studio's first attempt went to Neil Purvis and Robert Wade, but their draft didn't stick. Then came Donna and Wayne Powers, the screenwriting team who remarkably had never seen the original. They watched it once, just enough to get the vibe, then spent the next 2 years rewriting, drafting, and reshaping. 18 drafts later, they had something director Felix Gary Gray called inspired by the original, an homage, not a replica. Gray came into the project not as a veteran of action films, but as a director with roots in music videos. What he brought was visual rhythm, energy, and an insistence on staying close to the actors. He stayed by the camera, watching every take unfold in real time. To steer his team through the chaos of a major studio film, he even wrote a creative mission statement, laying out his vision so the entire crew knew what they were building. At its heart, The Italian Job is a story of betrayal and revenge. A master thief assembles a crew to steal back $35 million in gold from a former ally, who double-crossed them and killed their mentor. Together they plan an elaborate heist, armed with brains, explosives, and a trio of customized Mini Coopers. The original film was about getting the tools to pull off the perfect heist and then executing it with precision. The new film kept the tools, the minis, the gold, the tight-knit crew, but gave them a new mission and crucially a new heart. For Gray, the cars were fun, but it was the people driving them that made the movie worth watching. That doesn't mean the minis weren't important. They were so central to the plan, though unlike the actors, some of them were getting dragged back to the body shop so often they probably qualified for health insurance. When The Italian Job hit theaters in 2003, it carried an unusual weight of expectations. Critics approached it with caution, yet to many people's surprise, it delivered. Reviewers praised the film's energy, visual style, and ensemble cast. Roger Ebert gave the film 3 stars out of 4, describing it as 2 hours of mindless escapism on a relatively skilled professional level. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B- and pointed to Seth Green's comic relief as a highlight, adding levity without derailing the tension. Audiences responded warmly at the box office. The film grossed over $176 million worldwide, with strong showings in the United States and Europe. Some critics called the plot lightweight or predictable, but for many viewers that was not the case. The movie delivered what it promised, a stylish and entertaining ride. And judging by the box office, audiences were clearly more forgiving than the LA commuters stuck in traffic during filming.
They wouldn't allow us to shoot in the tunnels with cars that had combustion engines. Called BMW and they said, darn any electric minis, they don't exist.
The making of The Italian Job wasn't just about pulling off an on-screen heist. Behind the camera, it was its own elaborate operation. Cinematographer Wally Pfister carefully crafted the film's visual style. Pfister wanted strong contrast and dark textures, and to get the widescreen look, they shot in Super 35, balancing artistic ambition with studio requirements. But style was only the beginning. Filming in Venice, Italy meant tight restrictions and constant supervision, especially during the opening canal chase. During the Venice boat chase, cinematographer Wally Pfister narrowly avoided decapitation under a low bridge. In the Alps at Passo Fidaya, the crew endured brutal conditions. Temperatures were so cold that water bottles froze solid within 40 feet, guns jammed, and people worked 10 hours straight without being able to feel their hands or feet. It was less like filming a heist movie and more like surviving one. Back in Los Angeles, the scale exploded. Shutting down Hollywood Boulevard for 6 or 7 days was described as the local equivalent of closing Times Square, something that had never been done before. The production used a fleet of 32 custom-built Mini Coopers, many outfitted with second steering wheels, boosted suspensions, or even sawed in half to allow for specialized camera shots. A dedicated 24-hour repair crew was always on standby to patch up the battered minis between takes, keeping the tiny workhorses rolling. 300 cars in total were used, including armored trucks, motorcycles, and even helicopters. Even with weekend shoots, pedestrians had to be let through between takes. To capture the armored truck's 30-foot plunge into the subway tunnel, the team ran 7 cameras simultaneously, filming the entire crash in a single perfect take. The subway scenes were just as ambitious. Some were shot in real Red Line tunnels, while others were recreated on a massive set at Downey Studios. One of the most striking moments was when the minis make a sharp left off the Walk of Fame, weave through pedestrians, and jump down the stairs into the metro, a stunt the actors themselves trained to pull off. But filming underground came with its own twist. No combustion engines were allowed. The production team converted 3 minis to run on electricity, at the time, the only electric minis in the world. The main cast spent nearly a month at Willow Springs Raceway, learning to handle tight turns, sharp stair descents, and confined tunnel runs themselves. On set, Theron consistently nailed a reverse 180 in a warehouse scene. On the other hand, Mark Wahlberg's tough guy image took a hit when he got so carsick riding shotgun with Theron that the footage became unusable and had to be cut. And then there was Edward Norton. As Seth Green bluntly put it, Norton didn't want to be there. Contractually forced into the role, Norton was professional but openly frustrated, even telling fans they should skip the film. Behind the scenes, the tension was clear, but Gray and the team stayed focused, and Norton's performance added a dark, unpredictable layer to Steve Frizzelli. By the time filming wrapped, the Italian Job had survived frostbite conditions, citywide chaos, underground engineering, and a star who didn't want to be there. For the crew, the real thrill wasn't the gold heist, it was surviving the shoot.
I don't do dogs. I had a real bad experience, man.
What happened?
I had a bad experience. Damn it.
The Italian Job came home on DVD and VHS on October 7th, 2003, courtesy of Paramount Home Entertainment. The release included bonus features diving into the film's production and deleted scenes for fans wanting more of the crew's adventures. By December 2003, the home media release had sold over 3 million copies, earning more than $57.7 million in profit. For a movie about a heist crew pulling off the impossible, maybe the real surprise was how many times audiences were willing to buy it again in different formats. After The Italian Job became a box office hit, Paramount announced a sequel called The Brazilian Job. The idea was simple, another globe-trotting heist starting in Rio de Janeiro, but the project fell into development hell. Scripts were written, rewrites were ordered, and production dates were floated, but nothing moved forward. By 2007, they had multiple drafts, but no green light. Jason Statham said the sequel was just sitting around, and Seth Green later called it a wonderful myth of IMDb. In 2009, there was a brief push, but by 2010, momentum faded. Writer David Tohey admitted it probably was not happening, even as Wahlberg stayed optimistic in public. Eventually, the sequel quietly died. Fans have since pointed out how Fast 5, with its Rio setting and gold heist, felt similar to the rumored plot, but no official link was ever confirmed. So how did The Italian Job pull it off? The answer is simple. It gave a classic its due without getting stuck in the past. It didn't need to reinvent the heist movie, it just had to deliver with style and confidence. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel, you just need to stick a Mini Cooper on it, floor it through a Hollywood gridlock, and pray the audience comes along for the ride. And speaking of good times, next time we are diving into something even wilder, Nicolas Cage, a 1967 Mustang, and a remake that did not just hit the gas, it crashed straight through Hollywood's best laid plans. This is the story of Gone in 60 Seconds. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content.